Hey fellow fanatics, welcome to your third special edition of the Fanatically Real broadcast today here on Saturday, 22 August. In just a few seconds, we are going to start the process for our oldest region in Fantasy Sports Alliance, the Great Lakes region. We will be doing their draft selection show, and that's going to start in about 20 seconds. Hey fellow fanatics, welcome to your third installment of draft selection shows today on Draft Selection Saturday. Some of you have been with us for the first two earlier today. Would like to say congratulations to Eric Talbot of the Average Joes for landing the number one draft spot in the New England Phoenix region earlier, and then also to Kevin Godwin for getting the number one spot in the Appalachian Black Bears region earlier today. Who you calling old? Well, not Damian, because Damian is one of two rookies that are in. Is it just two? I'm looking across the makeup of this real quick. Yeah, one of three rookies that is going to be in the Great Lakes region this year. We have some of our long-time standing members in this region, as the region is our oldest standing region. And when we get ready to talk about the parade of teams here in just a second, and we give some background information on them, you will know, yes, they have been around for a while. But before we start getting into that parade of teams, please follow us on all of our social media that's down there. Website, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube channel. Make sure you go out and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are trying to reach 100 subscribers over there so we can get a custom YouTube channel name. And we can start doing live broadcast over there as well. Damien, how is your day today? All right, so what we're going to do, just like we did earlier today on the other two draft selection shows, we're going to do a slight parade of teams, a little bit different than what we did for the Dynasty parade of teams, because those teams were defunct professional football teams that actually at one point existed. We were given a little bit of a history on each one of those. Now we're giving a little bit of history on these teams that have been in the FSA, and a little bit on the general managers as well. And this one will probably be one of the longest parade of teams, as we do have a lot to say about this group that is here. So let me switch screens. This is what the draft selection screen is going to look like for the day, color-coded or branded based on the Great Lake Hydras region. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pop up these logos in the upper right-hand corner in alphabetical order inside the region and give you a little bit of a breakdown of the history of these teams. So the very first one that we're going to bring up is the Dayton Cavalry and their general manager, Jason Hazlett. Jason Hazlett is the longest standing FSA member outside of myself. He has been playing with us since 1995. He was in our very first successful season and has played every single year since then. We almost didn't think that we were going to get him back this year, and at the last second, he decided to sign back up. Heart skipped a beat when I saw that he actually had signed up, because I didn't think he was coming back. As you can see, he has that little purple ribbon down there in the bottom right-hand corner of his logo. That means he was nominated into the Hall of Fame last year as one of our four members in the class of 2019 to join our one Hall of Fame inductee from 2018. So Jason, welcome back. The next one that's up there is the Creek Dogs and their general manager, Greg DeLong. Greg also in this group, the third longest member of FSA. Greg also happens to be last year's world champion, and that's depicted by one of those two gold stars that you see up there in the corner. The other one was another world championship that he had years previous, and Greg was also one of the guys that was nominated into the Hall of Fame last year. With that same class Jason Hazlett was. Greg, also the best friend of my dad, John Bashore, who we're going to mention here in a little bit. Next one is Damian Gratz. He's on with us right now, and Garbage Points. Damian, one of the rookies in this region this year, but it feels like he's been around forever. He is a part of our Dynasty leagues as well. I know he's going to be a force to reckon with in this group, so Damian, welcome aboard. Our other rookie, one of our other rookies, two of our three rookies, is the Golden Boys and their general manager, Joshua Lorenzo. He is the brother of Kevin Godwin, who just got the #1 draft pick over in the Appalachian region. These two wanted to make sure that they didn't play against each other this year, so we ended up splitting them up into two different regions. So Josh is a rookie for us this year, or to us this year. Josh, thank you, welcome. Killers, John Bashore, this is my father. He also has 2 world championships to his name and was also a Hall of Fame inducted member last year. Dad's been around playing with us since 1996. And as you can already tell by his ribbon stack there, he will be a force to reckon with this year, as always. Our third and final rookie member of the year is Luke Langhaw. This is actually my nephew, and this is the Melonhawks. Luke actually saved up birthday money because he wanted to join this league so bad, and then asked his mom if he was allowed to play, as my sister-in-law, and she said yes. So Luke, we've got you in this year, last of our rookies inside the region. Glad to have you aboard. Guys, he's got a great football mind. He's going to be very tough to beat this year. Mongoose and Matt Little. So Matt and I go back a little bit. Weird story there that I won't tell you all here. But Matt and I are good friends. He's been around in the league. I think this is his 5th or 6th year. Let me see. He's been around since 2015. So this will be his 6th year. This is only the 2nd year that he has stayed consistent with his brand from one year to the next. So he was the Mongoose last year. He is again the Mongoose this year for the first time, keeping that same brand. Matt, welcome back. Todd Spencer. So Todd is with us from a group of people that are actually playing in this region right now between Todd Spencer, Jason Norris, and Brian Lewis. All of them were in a fantasy football chat group with me 2 years ago. I was able to recruit them and others that will be drafting tomorrow, and they decided to return again this year. Todd is playing on a comped membership this year because he won our NFL playoff challenge at the end of last year. Todd, welcome back, brother. Ohio Racers, Doug Neubauer. Doug's back for the first time after a very big lull before last year, probably spanning an entire decade. Let's see, when was the last time you played with us, Doug? Was 2000. Then he took a long break, played with us last year, back again this year. Doug and I know each other from all the way back when we worked at the International Hot Rod Association together. It's really good to have him back in the league. And then we just mentioned Brian Lewis. Brian Lewis, one of the guys that I met in the fantasy football chat room. Brian, a very great football mind, a guy that I turn to quite often whenever I need help trying to figure out logistically what we're doing with these leagues. He was a huge help as we were building the Dynasty Leagues this year. I'm glad to have him on board again for another year. Brian, welcome back. Matt Furby. So Matt is the Ohio River Monsters. We met Matt through somehow on Facebook, and then I think Matt actually brought Damien over to us. Is that right, Damien? I think that's how you ended up finding us. So Matt had a great year last year with this first year. Really happy to have him back as well. Awesome that he brought Damian Gratz all along with him. So happy to have both of them in the league. And then our final member of the Great Lakes region is Jason Norris. You wouldn't know it by the logo that's up there, but the team name is Turd Ferguson. If you don't understand the reference, make sure you go out and go to YouTube and type in Turd Ferguson. Great skit. Jason was also another one of those guys that we found through that chat room, fantasy football chat room on Kick. So Jason, again, welcome back for your second season. So all of those that I just read off to you were like little visual cues for myself. I have all of these banners that are in front of me that represent each one of those teams that I just talked about. You could see these banners on the MFL page if you were to click on the name of a team on any of the pages that you see a team name on MFL that's highlighted, but mostly from the standings page, you'll see whenever it goes into the team page, you'll see banners that look like this on the page. That's what I was just using as a reference. This is also going to be our keys that come out of the hat for draft selection purposes. We have the 25th anniversary Walter hat here. I'm going to fold each one of these teams up. I'm going to put it in the hat. The way we're going to do the very first pick is we are going to shake up the hat. We are going to pull a team out of the hat. We are going to roll what you see as the virtual 12-sided dice on the right-hand side screen there. Let me show you what that looks like. Let me clear this. I think both of them might be having some issues right now. We might have to do a refresh. Let's see if the refresh works. There we go. Must have been off of it for too long. So what you're seeing here is 12-sided die will be right here. We will roll that 12-sided die after we pull a name out of the hat, and we will place the team in that spot on the draft board that you see there on the left-hand side. Ross Norris made it. Ross, how are you? Welcome, brother. How are the kids? How are you? How did you get... I don't want to say stuck. That's not the right answer I want to say. How did you end up with all of the kids together? But we will roll a 12-sided die. We will put that team on the board, and then we will start rolling what we call action dice, which are the 2 6-sided dice that are on the left-hand side. Those action dice totals will correspond to a total that you see right here below me. And we will action on whatever that says right there, and we will continue that process until the entire board is full with teams. And then after the board is full, we will roll the dice one more time, the action dice one more time, to see what it does to that board. Now what you see there in the number 2 spot where it says start over and lock team, if we roll snake eyes, that means that we start over. We clear everything off the board as if it never happened up to that point. What we did, it was actually Brian Lewis that's in this region. After we did the Alpha Dynasty draft selection shows this year for one of our Dynasty leagues, and we had a couple of snake eyes, we decided that it would be ideal that after the first snake eyes came out, that we just went ahead, if we rolled a snake eyes again, that we would just lock a team very much like it shows there in number 11. If a team gets locked, that means no matter what happens to this board, whether there's a start over or teams are moving up or down or somebody gets pulled from the board or there's a flip-flop of teams or whatever, that team that is locked doesn't go anywhere. So if you get locked, you know you are guaranteed that spot. We have not had any snake eyes yet today through 2 draft selection shows, and we've only had 1 locked team so far, and that was the Meyer Wolf from the Appalachian draft selection show we just got done doing. Ross says, kids are all good. Good, and good. Wifey needed a break. Totally understand. That's awesome, man. You're a saint for taking care of everybody right now. So let me get Turd Ferguson's image off the screen there. What we're going to do is we are going to shake the hat up. We are going to pull a team out of here. This is going to start our Great Lakes draft selection show. We're going to roll the 12-sided die after the hat or the team comes out of the hat, and that team will go into that spot. It is going to be the Killcare Killers, which is my dad. I hope he's able to be watching this right now. I tried to give my sister a call to see if he was available to watch, but I did not get an answer yet, so hopefully he is watching this. Matt says he's hoping for snake eyes in this draft. That's awesome. Thanks, guys. So we will roll the 12-sided die, and we will put my dad in the number 6 spot. So let's turn on the Killcare Killers and move them over into... why are you not being grabbed? There we go. Let's move you over into the number 6 spot. All right, now that we have a team on the board, what we do is we roll the action dice. 2 6-sided dice that are right there and right there. We roll, and whatever the total number is, that's what we action on. Number 3, pull team from a board. Well, unless we roll the 6 that we just got done rolling, we will pull nobody from the board, but let's see what happens. 7, we don't pull anybody from the board. Let's go back to the action dice. 8, that means we're going to roll a d12 until a spot opens up, but before we can roll that, we have to pick a name out of the hat to see who we're going to put on the board. Should be pretty easy to get a team on the board since we only have 1 team up there right now. Next one to go on the board is Brian Lewis with TDs and beer. Let's roll the 12-sided dice and see where we put Brian. Brian can't go in the number 6 spot because it is currently occupied. So let's roll again. We are going to put TDs and beer in the number 12 spot, at least for the time being. And we're going to roll some action dice. 6, which means we are going to swap teams' positions. When we do that, we roll 2 12-sided dice. If we end up rolling a 6 or a 12 with another number, those teams will swap from that spot to one of the empty spots that's there. If we roll a 6 and a 12, the killers and TDs and beer will be swapping spots. So we roll 2 7s. That doesn't affect anything on the board. Let's go back to the action dice. 7 is going to roll a d12 until a spot is open. I have to pull a team from the hat. The next team that we pull is Jason Norris and Turd Ferguson. We're going to roll just one 12-sided die to put Jason on the board. Jason is going to go into the number 8 spot. The reason it looks like a Jason mask is because his name is Jason, but the team name is still Turd Ferguson. So in case anybody was wondering how there was any relationship between the logo and the team name, there isn't. Let's roll the action dice. 5, we are going to do a d12 until a spot is opened up once again. Shaking the hat. Pulling out the next team. Next team is Melon Hawks, Luke Langha, my nephew. Luke, let's see where you end up going. Number 3. Going to put the Melon Hawks in number 3. All right, let's go back to some action dice. Number 6, we're going to swap teams with 2d12. Let's add a second 12-sided dice there. If we have a 3, 6, 8, or 12 come up, there will be some people moving. If not, we'll roll the action dice again. So we have a 3 and a 9, so we just put the Melon Hawks on the board, and they are going to be moving from number 3 to number 9. Let's roll some action dice. 4. Everybody is going to move up or down one position based on whether I roll an odd or an even with a 12-sided dice. So think about this as you see the board there, or if you want to think about it linear from top to bottom. If I roll an odd number, everybody shifts up the board one spot, including number 1 rolling around to number 12. If I roll an even, everybody shifts down one spot, including 12 rolling to number 1. So let's see what I roll. I roll an even number, which means everybody moves down one position. So that means TDs and beer now go to number 1. Melon Hawks to 10. Turd Ferguson to 9. And the killers to number 7. And we are back on the action dice. 7 means we're going to roll a d12 until a spot is open. Chris Simpson's on with us. Chris, how are you? Pulling a team out, we're going to roll until we get them on the board, and we are putting Doug Neubauer, Ohio Racers, on the board. We'll continue to roll the 12-sided dice until we get an open spot. Number 4 is currently open. Let's get the Ohio Racers on the board. All right. And let's roll some action dice. Number 11, we are going to lock a team on the board. If we roll a 1, 4, 7, 9, or 10, that team will lock and will not move the rest of the draft, no matter what draft selection, no matter what happens. Let's see if we get one of them. The number 9, that is Turd Ferguson. That is the same spot I think the Meyer Wolf were in earlier whenever they got locked. So that means number 9, Turd Ferguson, and I'm going to lock him back on the board so I know not to move him. Is locked on the board. Jason Norris, you will be picking from the number 9 spot no matter what happens the rest of this draft selection show. Let's go back to the action dice. Number 11, we get our second team possibly locked on the board depending on what this roll is. Let's see what happens. Number 8, there is nobody in that spot. There will be no locking. Back to the action dice. Number 8, we will roll a d12 until a spot is open, but we have to pull the name out of the hat before we put them up on the board. So who we're pulling out. We're pulling out Jason Hazlett, longtime friend of mine, all the way back to college. We were best men in each other's weddings. Let's get him on the board in one of these open spots. Jason, you are going to go into the number 8 spot. And thank you for coming back this year. Really appreciate you, brother. All right, let's go to the action dice. Action dice say number 7. Roll a d12 until a spot is filled. Still got to pull a name out. We haven't seen you yet, have we, Damien? I don't think we've got you on there. Or yeah, we didn't have you on there and then pull you, did we? Matt Furby, the Ohio River Monsters. Let's see where we're putting Matt at. Matt is going in the number 5 spot. Let's move him over there. And let's roll action dice. 8, we're going to be rolling a d12 and filling it with a position. Or rolling it until we fill a position. And we're going to be picking out Todd Spencer, Music City Miracles. Todd, let's see where we're going to put you. Number 10 is filled. Number 12 is not filled. Music City Miracles, Todd Spencer is moving to the number 12 spot. Action dice. 6, swap teams with the 2d12. Let's add a second 12-sided dice. Roll, and we will be moving 5 and 9. We cannot move 9 because that is Turd Ferguson, so there will be no moving of teams. We will roll the action dice again. Oh, I'm missing stuff being said here. Brian Lewis, hey, how are you? I didn't know you guys were there. Let's see, Chris, tired but trying to flick my body clock back to my work hours. Ah, okay. Nope, Damien wants the number 2 spot. Let's see what we can do for him. Let's roll those action dice. I didn't know you guys were talking. I had to scroll a little bit there. Number 4 means we're going to move everybody up or down 1 spot based on an odd or an even roll here. The only team we will not be moving will be Turd Ferguson. Let's see what happens. Reroll an odd number, which means everybody moves up 1 spot. So we are going to move 12 to 11. We are going to move 1 to 12. We are going to move 4 to 3. 5 to 4. 7 to 6, 8 to 7, and because Turd Ferguson can't move, Melonhawks jump over 9 and move up to the number 8 spot. Let's go back to the action dice. 6 means we are going to swap 2 teams with 2 d12s. We will be swapping the number 1 and the number 11 spot. That means Todd Spencer, Music City Miracles, is now moving up to the number 1 spot. Action dice. Number 7, that means we're going to roll a d12 until a spot is filled. Got to get a name out of the hat first. See if I'm missing any more chatter over here. Nope, nothing at the moment. I just pulled out Damian Gratz. Garbage points. Damien, we got to get you on the board. Let's clear this down to 1 12-sided die, and let's roll a spot. Roll until we get you in a spot. 3 is already occupied by the Racers. 12 already by TDs and Beer. The number 11 spot is now open since we just moved Todd Spencer out of that one. Damian Gratz with garbage points is going to go into the number 11 spot. How do you feel about that, since apparently you don't want to draft early? Back to the action dice. Number 7, again, roll the 2d12, or roll a d12 until we fill a position. We have 3 spots left open, 3 teams left in the hat. Next one out is the Creek Dogs, which is Greg DeLong, last year's world champion. Greg, we got to roll a 2, 5, or 10 for you to get on the board. There is a 12 position filled, 4 position filled, 8 position filled, 8 again. There is the 5. The Creek Dogs will go into the number 5 spot. 2 of our Hall of Fame members sitting right next to each other there, and best friends as well. Well, all right straight through, actually. 5, 6, and 7, all Hall of Fame members right there together. Let's roll some action dice. Number 9 is going to be swap positions with 2d12. Let's add a second 12-sided die. Again, number 9 is not going anywhere. We rolled a 10 and a 3, so the Ohio Racers is moving down into that open number 10 spot. We have 2 open spots left. Chris is calling for Snake Eyes. Let's see what happens. Number 9, we're going to swap with 2d12s again. We're going to be moving the number 8 and the number 2. Means Melon Hawks are going straight up. And now we have spots 3 and 8 open. Roll some action dice. Number 10, we are going to roll a d12 with the team that we're going to take out of the hat. If that spot is already filled, we will put this team that comes out of the hat in that spot, and the team that is in that spot will go back into the hat. And that is going to be Matt Little at the Mongoose. Matt, we're going to see if you end up taking somebody out or if you just go on the board. You are going into the number 6 spot, which is knocking out Dad. So let's get the Mongoose turned on. You're going to be moving here. We are going to move the Killers out of the way and hide them. We're going to move the Mongoose up into the number 6 spot. And we need to add the Killers back in to the hat. Let's fold him up. Throw him in there. Said that the live video was paused or had a little bit of an issue. Hopefully that won't affect too much. It was our first time that we had any dropped frames so far today. Very interesting. Let's roll some action dice. Number 7, a d12 until a spot opens up. So we ended up putting the Killers back in there. And who else have we still not touched yet? Golden Boys. We still haven't had the Golden Boys come out yet. Right now, there they are, Joshua Lorenzo. So we're going to roll a 12-sided die until we get a spot open, which is going to be the 3 or the 8. So we continue to roll until that 3 or that 8 pops up. Could take a while. Still looking for 3 or 8. Ooh, so close. So it bounced around there for a second. This could be a minute. 3 or 8. Good Lord. Random number generator. There it is, number 8. So we are putting Golden Boys into the number 8 spot. That means if we get another one of those ones that says roll a d12 until a spot is open, that means we're just going to take the last remaining team, which is the Killers, and put them in that number 3 spot. But let's see what the action dice say. Action dice say 12. We are flipping the whole board. So here's what happens when we do this. Imagine this just going like this. 1 becomes 12, 2 becomes 11, 3 becomes 10, and that's how we're going to do the board right now. So 1 becomes 12. 2 becomes 11. 10 becomes 3. Because Turd Ferguson is not locked at 9, 4 does not move. 5 and 8 switch positions. And 6 and 7 swap positions. And we go to the action dice. Okay, you said it jumped a little bit, nothing serious. Okay, that's good. I'm glad you all are still here with us then. Number 9, swap teams with 2d12s. Let's see what we get. We are getting the number 1 and the number 7. Brian, you are moving out of the number 1 spot down to number 7. Mongoose is moving up to number 1. And we have another action dice throw. 5 means we're going to roll a d12 until an open position is filled. The last team that's in there should be the Killers, John Bashore. So we're going to turn him back on. We are going to slide him into the number 10 spot. And we will have one final roll. And Brian, 2 rolls away from this being over, and you get bumped from the number 1 into the number 7 spot. Let's see what happens. Oh, I thought there for a second that we were going to get the snake eyes. It looked like it was super close. So we got the number 3. We are going to pull a team from the board. We do not know which team we are pulling from the board until we roll. We just know that the only one that won't come off the board is Turd Ferguson. We are currently pulling number 9, which would be Turd Ferguson, since we cannot pull him from the board. This is the draft order for the Great Lakes Hydras draft. This draft will take place at 6 p.m. next Saturday. It will be live on MFL. If you're not already logged into MFL, please make sure you go over and do that. I will take this draft order and I will put it up on MFL momentarily after we get done. I will also be sending out an email to the entire alliance to let them know how our day went today, and make sure everybody goes out. And thank you, Chris. Already posted it to GroupMe. Appreciate you, brother. To let everybody know how it went and what the schedule looks like for tomorrow. And that is it for tonight. Thank you all for joining us. Please make sure you go out and subscribe to all of our social media outlets: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, definitely YouTube. But please go over to YouTube and subscribe to our channel over there. And then we will be back tomorrow at noon. First draft selection show up will be the South Atlantic Dragons, followed by the Gulf Coast Serpents, and then the West, which we have still yet to name for the season. We're going to let the West do that for us. Yeah, and I think that's it for the night. Brian says, do you want to swap? You guys talk about that offline. Matt, how do you feel about being in the number 1 spot, brother? Let me know how you feel about that. Glad you were here to be able to see it, too. All right, y'all, enjoy the rest of your Saturday night. I'm going to get this stuff posted, try to do a little bit of work to get ourselves ahead of schedule for tomorrow and get some more graphic work done. And we'll see you back here noon tomorrow. You all have a great evening.